United States, under the administration of President Donald Trump, imposed tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods entering the country. These tariffs, essentially taxes on imported products, were aimed at protecting American industries and jobs from what the administration perceived as unfair Chinese trade practices. The goal was to reduce the trade deficit and encourage domestic manufacturing. China, in turn, retaliated with its own tariffs on U.S. goods, escalating the trade war and casting a shadow of uncertainty over the global economic outlook. This back and forth created a tense atmosphere in international trade relations. This tit-for-tat exchange of tariffs, levied on everything from soybeans and steel to electronics and automobiles, sent shockwaves through global supply chains. Companies had to navigate a new landscape of increased costs and disrupted logistics. Businesses and consumers alike grappled with the rising costs of goods caught in the crossfire. The impact was felt in everyday life, from grocery stores to car dealerships. The International Monetary Fund warned that the trade war could undermine global economic growth, highlighting the interconnected nature of the global economy and the far-reaching consequences of protectionist policies. Economists and policymakers around the world voiced their concerns. As tariffs mounted and rhetoric intensified, the trade war evolved into a broader struggle for economic and technological dominance between the world's two largest economies. This competition extended into areas like 5G technology and artificial intelligence. Concerns over China's trade surplus with the United States, allegations of intellectual property theft, and forced technology transfer fueled tensions between Washington and Beijing. These issues became central points of contention in the ongoing negotiations. The trade war became a focal point of a deepening rivalry that extended beyond economics, encompassing geopolitical influence, technological innovation, and national security. The stakes were high, with potential long-term implications for global power dynamics. The trade war's impact was not limited to the US and China. Countries around the world felt the ripple effects. As global trade flows were disrupted and businesses faced uncertainty, many nations had to reassess their trade policies and alliances. Countries around the world felt the ripple effects as global trade flows were disrupted and businesses faced uncertainty. The interconnected nature of modern supply chains meant that disruptions in one region could have far-reaching consequences. The trade war underscored the interconnectedness of the global economy and the importance of international cooperation in resolving trade disputes. Diplomatic efforts were intensified to find common ground and mitigate the adverse effects. It also highlighted the potential for economic conflict to spill over into other areas of international relations, adding to the complexity of an already challenging geopolitical landscape. The world watched closely as the standoff unfolded, aware of its potential to reshape global alliances and economic strategies. In a surprising turn of events, a glimmer of hope emerged from the escalating trade tensions between the United States and China. On May 12, 2025, the two economic giants announced a truce, agreeing to lower tariff levels and pause the implementation of new tariffs for a period of 90 days. This unexpected development came as a welcome respite for businesses and investors worldwide who had been bracing for further escalation in the trade war. The news was met with relief and optimism, as markets responded positively to the announcement. The agreement, reached after months of intense negotiations, signaled a willingness on both sides to step back from the brink and explore a more amicable resolution to their trade disputes. It was a testament to the hard work and dedication of the negotiators involved. While the truce did not erase the underlying tensions, it offered a crucial window of opportunity to de-escalate the conflict and work towards a more sustainable trade relationship. This period was seen as a chance to rebuild trust and cooperation. This pause in the trade war was seen as a positive step towards restoring stability to global markets and reducing the economic uncertainty that had been weighing on businesses and consumers. The ripple effects of this truce were felt across various sectors. Details of the agreement revealed a mutual commitment to easing trade barriers. Both sides recognized the importance of fostering a more open and fair trading environment. The United States agreed to lower tariffs on a range of Chinese imports, while China reciprocated with similar concessions on U.S. goods. This reciprocal approach was aimed at creating a more balanced trade relationship. While the specific products and tariff reductions were not immediately disclosed, the commitment to reducing tariffs was seen as a significant move towards de-escalating the trade war. It was a step in the right direction for both nations. This mutual de-escalation was seen as a positive sign. indicating a willingness to find common ground and address the concerns that had fueled the trade dispute. It was a moment of cautious optimism. The 90-day pause on new tariffs was a crucial element of the truce, providing a breathing space for negotiators to address the complex issues at the heart of the trade dispute. This period was critical for laying the groundwork for future agreements. This temporary ceasefire offered a chance to move beyond the tit-for-tat tariff increases that had characterized the trade war and engage in more constructive dialogue. It was an opportunity to reset the tone of the negotiations. The 90-day period was widely seen as a test of whether the two economic superpowers could find a path towards a more stable and mutually beneficial trade relationship. The world watched closely, hoping for a lasting resolution. News of the US-China tariff truce reverberated throughout global markets, injecting a much-needed dose of optimism into the global economic outlook. Stock markets around the world surged as investors cheered the prospect of de-escalation in the trade war. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, a key indicator of U.S. stock market performance, experienced a significant rally, reflecting renewed investor confidence in the global economy. Other major stock markets, including those in Europe and Asia, followed suit, demonstrating the interconnectedness of global financial markets and the far-reaching impact of the U.S.-China trade relationship. The easing of trade tensions between the world's two largest economies had a palpable impact on business sentiment. The pause in tariff increases provided businesses with greater certainty, allowing them to plan for the future without the looming threat of further disruptions to supply chains and increased costs. This newfound stability was particularly welcomed by industries that had been directly impacted by the trade war, such as manufacturing, agriculture, and technology. The truce offered a glimmer of hope that the trade war's negative effects on global trade and investment could be mitigated. Beyond the immediate market reaction, the truce had the potential to unlock a virtuous cycle of economic growth. Reduced trade barriers could lead to increased trade and investment flows between the United States and China, boosting economic activity in both countries. This, in turn, could have positive spillover effects for the global economy as a whole. The truce, while not a permanent solution, represented a step in the right direction, offering a glimmer of hope for a more stable and prosperous global economic order. The announcement of the US-China tariff truce elicited a range of reactions from world leaders, trade experts, and industry representatives. The news spread quickly, capturing the attention of global markets and political arenas alike. While the agreement was generally welcomed as a positive step towards de-escalating trade tensions, it was also met with a degree of caution and skepticism. Many stakeholders were wary of the temporary nature of the truce. The truce, while offering a respite from the trade war, did not address the underlying issues that had led to the dispute in the first place. These deep-rooted issues required more than just a temporary halt in hostilities. Political leaders from major economies expressed cautious optimism, emphasizing the need for a comprehensive and lasting trade deal between the U.S. and China. They highlighted the importance of continued dialogue and negotiation. The European Union, a key player in global trade, welcomed the truce, but stressed the importance of upholding the rules-based multilateral trading system. EU officials called for transparency and fairness in future negotiations. Leaders from emerging markets, particularly those heavily reliant on trade with both the U.S. and China, expressed relief at the prospect of reduced trade tensions, hoping that the truce would pave the way for a more stable global trading environment. They were eager to see tangible benefits from the agreement. Trade experts offered a more nuanced perspective, acknowledging the positive aspects of the truce while also highlighting the challenges that lay ahead. They pointed out that the agreement was just the beginning of a long and complex process. Some experts cautioned against excessive optimism, pointing out that the 90-day pause on new tariffs was merely a temporary measure and that significant hurdles remained in reaching a comprehensive trade deal. They warned that the road ahead would be fraught with difficulties. Others emphasized the need for both sides to address the structural issues at the heart of the trade dispute, including intellectual property rights, market access, and forced technology transfer. These issues were seen as critical to achieving a lasting resolution. Industry representatives expressed a mixture of relief and uncertainty. They were hopeful that the truce would lead to a more predictable trading environment, but remained cautious about the future. Businesses in sectors that had been directly impacted by the trade war, such as agriculture and manufacturing, welcomed the truce as a respite from the damaging effects of tariffs. They looked forward to a period of stability and recovery. However, there were also concerns that the truce, while providing temporary relief, did not offer the long-term certainty needed for businesses to make investment decisions and plan for the future. The lack of a permanent solution left many questions unanswered. The truce was seen as a step in the right direction, but businesses remained cautious, awaiting further details and progress in negotiations between the two economic superpowers. The hope was that this initial agreement would lead to more substantial and lasting solutions.